This is not sponsored by the church. This is a nonpartisan event, but very helpful and informative information will be shared. But we're grateful that you're here. You're welcome to worship with us at any time at 8:30 and 10:30 a.m. How many of you have grandchildren or raised grandchildren? Yeah, okay. Let me tell you this story. My parents used to drop us off at my grandmother's house, and my grandmother was a beautician. And my grandmother, when she became the age of 65, she was, applying for Social Security and Medicaid and all of that, and we thought she was old. Well, next year, I'm turning 65, and she wasn't that old. Amen, 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 amen. But let's have a word of prayer. Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your Holy Spirit, your holy presence in our lives. We thank you for us gathering here for this very informative session. We thank you for the coordinators who have rented this space for us to share and to be informed and to share with others. We thank you for this opportunity for our existence, and we ask your continued blessings be upon the president, the cabinet, and all of those who serve in government places and spaces. Continue to be with us and continue to bless us to be a blessing. In Christ's name, amen. Enjoy today.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. They don't call me Mary Yellen for nothing, so usually people don't need a microphone to hear me. So my name's Ellen Gottlieb, and I'm the Florida Outreach Director for Save Social Security and Medicare Now. And we have with us the Executive Director of Social Security Works, Alex Lawson, and we also have a testimonial today. So I wanted to, bear with me 1 second. This is Al Krulik, and he's going to say a few words about how he would personally be affected and a little bit of his story background on how survivors benefits and Social Security has affected him. Can you stand up for a minute and speak?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. My name is Al Krulik. I'm 72 years old, and I'm on Social Security and Medicare. I read something interesting, by the way, that Social Security supports about 52 million retirees in this country, about 7 million disabled workers, and about 6 million moms and kids who survive on survivor benefits. I was one of those. My dad was from the greatest generation, fought the fascists in World War II. He died when I was 8. I have an older brother and a younger sister. We would not have made it if we didn't have Social Security survivor benefits. And now there's 6 million people out in the country, moms and kids and dads like me, who, if those survivor benefits are cut off, they're not going to make it either. So now I'm on Social Security. I'm on the other end of the scale from when I was a kid, and now I'm a retiree. I have a small pension from my union, but Social Security is what I exist on. And my wife's a school teacher, and she's going to retire at the end of this term. She's ready to get her Social Security. Folks, this is what we've been thinking about for years. We put our 2 daughters through college, and now the both of us are going to be retired. And we have plans. We have plans to live the rest of our lives with some dignity and without fear. You talk about fear. I woke up last Wednesday morning at 3 o'clock in the morning to check my bank account to see if my check was there. I'm going to have to do that next month too. I'm afraid that one of these days I'm going to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to check my bank account and there's not going to be there. And then I'm effed. And I know that you people probably feel very similarly. But that's my money. Elon Musk does not need my money. I paid into those funds for my entire working life. It's my money. It's your money. Do not let them take our money. Social Security was a promise that was made to us by former generations, and so is Medicare, and they have no right to take it away from us. It's that old line from the movie Wall Street. How many yachts can you water ski behind? Elon, you got $400 billion. That's enough. Leave the rest of it alone. Thank you very much.
So much. I appreciate it. And a lot of people are afraid. And that's why Alex Lawson, the executive director of Social Security Works, flew down from D.C. and we're running him ragged all over the state of Florida. We did another event this morning in Orlando. We're doing the villages tomorrow. We're dragging him all over the state to talk to people. And here he is right now. Please welcome Alex Lawson. Yep. Okay.
Keep it going for Ellen, who is doing an amazing job getting the word out. Dragging is not at all the correct word. This is the most joy I get is leaving Washington, D.C. To come down here to be with you all so that I can remind myself why I will go back to Washington, D.C. And get in the fray again. So I want to figure out how to structure this in a good way and zero out profanity in respect of the sanctuary that's welcoming us. But I do get mad about what's going on. My name's Alex Lawson. I'm the executive director of Social Security Works. We are an organization that fights to protect and expand Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid to lower prescription drug prices. We have been around for 15 years. I was employee number 1, so I've been doing this for 15 years. The president of Social Security Works, her name's Nancy Altman. She literally wrote the book on Social Security. She's been doing this for 50 years. Social Security has existed for 89 years. Nancy's the protege of Bob Ball, who fills that last 39 years. And we have a direct line from the New Dealers to today to protect this system that we built. And Al already mentioned it, but I just want to reiterate. Who gives us Social Security? We do. No one gives it to us. We earn it. It's our money. We know that. And it was designed that way in response to the Great Depression as a system where working people own it, have ownership of it, pay into it. It's there. We pay into it during our working lives, and it's there for us when we need it. When we retire, if we face a life-changing illness or injury, become disabled, can no longer work. As Al pointed out, it is the largest children's program in America by dollar figures because of survivor's benefits. So in the loss of a breadwinner, part of the wages are replaced. It's an insurance program. It insures against the loss of wages. We all know that, right? You see it. When you pay in, it says FICA, Federal Insurance Contribution. It's what you're paying in, and then you're fully insured. And we have built so many safeguards, including the dedicated payroll tax that FDR's got some really great lines about the whole thing, but he said, I'm doing this to keep those greedy politicians from getting their hands on my Social Security system. He did it knowing that if he didn't put it here, self-funded, that some politician would look over, Wall Street would tell them to, and they just try to rob it. They just steal the money, but they can't. They can't get their greedy little hands on Social Security. So I always do this piece because it's important. For 89 years, through war and peace, through boom and bust, through health and pandemic, Social Security has never missed a single payment. Social Security works. Compare that to the risky alternatives on Wall Street. How many times have you been told that something can't happen? Don't worry. Just put your money in here and it's safer, and then that thing happens and someone's like, oops-a-daisy, right? Except that's your money, and if you need it at that moment, and in 2008, your 401k turned into a 201k, you're out of luck, except for Social Security, because the check comes every month, guaranteed. And that's so important. It's why, without even focus grouping or all of the things, message testing that modern people, they named it perfectly, Social Security. And the picture on your card, right? It's got those pillars. It's foundational. Security. It's a sense of security, knowing that it's there for you. And I have to go around now, and for 15 years, I have made it, a huge part of my work is to tell people the guarantee cannot be broken. The guarantee, because you need 60 votes in the Senate. They'll never be able to get that, right? You can't do it through reconciliation. I'm sorry, I'm going to use some DC speak. I apologize. It's a different language up there. But because of all of these protections that we put in place, bipartisanly, by the way, Social Security was not touchable. But today I have to deliver the news to you that the guarantee is no longer present. And I don't want to, have you feel, my job was to say, never scaremonger on this program. That was from Nancy Altman, never scaremonger on this program. That was from Bob Ball, never scare, don't let it become a political football, because it's not, it's separate. It's an insurance program, the workers own it. Elon Musk figured out a way to make it extremely real that we can't guarantee the checks are going to be in the accounts next month, the month after, by what has already been done. So, Social Security, I think people probably know this, but the numbers are still kind of staggering. 10,000 baby boomers retire every single day. Every day. There's 10,000 more people going into the system every day. Before what Elon Musk has done, the staffing levels at Social Security Administration were at a 50-year low. We would work every Congress to try to get more money in. Sometimes we'd get a little bit more in. It was never really enough, but it was just barely holding together, and you had thousands of employees who can retire whenever they want. They've hit retirement age, but they're actually staying there because they love the system. You know, these are some of the people with the most knowledge of how this system works. It's extremely complicated. It is not a system that, some 20-year-old from Silicon Valley can just come in and disrupt, right? And be like, oh, you know how sometimes I wonder where people's heads are at, because people do understand this. They don't build it like they used to, right? Like there's a lot of things where you can't just go in and cut without any sort of plan and just be like, what is the Facebook guy? Move fast and break things, right? Zuckerberg, the other billionaire in Washington, D.C. Right? That's his motto, move fast and break things. what these guys don't understand is if you break Social Security, people die. That's not a scare tactic. People die. They tried to just shut off the phone system 2 days ago. No more phone, right? They said, oh, people can just go online or they can go into the Social Security office. We were like, have you met people before? Have you met people? And I think the answer is oftentimes no. You know, a billionaire, a South African billionaire like Elon Musk has no idea what everyday American's life is like and how critical Social Security is to the American people. And this is not a partisan issue. I've been to every corner of this country. That's not entirely true. I haven't been to Alabama, Mississippi, Hawaii, or Alaska, but I'm working on it. But I have camo-colored NRA hats, electric vehicles in the parking lot, everywhere in between, does not matter. Everyone loves Social Security. It was also why I think we had some false confidence that nobody would be crazy enough to actually take this system on. We know there are people who are ideologically opposed to Social Security. We know that. We know that there are elected politicians who, if they had their druthers, they would get rid of it or cut benefits. We're fighting that out in the political process, but we never thought that someone would come in and disrupt current beneficiaries' ability to get their checks. We just thought, like, that's crazy, because the politicians are going to immediately hear from every one of their constituents. So I'm going to end a little bit on a bummer, but I have a lot of hope at the end, and I'm going to mainly do Q&A because I want to answer all of the questions. But I do want to say this is not a partisan thing. Elon Musk is the problem here, okay? This guy doesn't understand what he's playing with, and what he's already done means that for the first time in my career, for the first time in Nancy's career, we're going around and saying the guarantee is not there. You have to actually insure for you and your loved ones. There are millions of people who can't work. They're disabled. You have 104-year-olds, right? They have nothing besides their Social Security. Maybe they haven't left their home in many years. Meals on Wheels is oftentimes the only human interaction that a person has. Well, if one check doesn't get to one of these people, they can die. They can die. Which is why the Sentinel part of this ask is, right now, I think you need to get in touch with both your senators and your representative in the House, but not the political side. I'm going to say a little bit why you should contact Rick Scott on the political side for sure, but on the constituent services side, does everyone know that that's also the job of your elected representatives? They work for you. They have an office called Constituent Services. That person's job is to make sure that you get the federal benefits that are yours by right. So if you see anything disrupted, that's who you call. So get their business card now. Contact them now and say, I'm hearing that Social Security benefits are potentially at risk. It's terrifying to me, and I need to know that I can call you and that you're going to ensure that my benefits are getting into my account. Because again, whose money is it? Ours. They cannot take our money. What they've done is hurt the system enough that we can't guarantee it. And the reason is because Wall Street understands this concept pretty easily. If you kneecap the mailman and then complain that the mail is late, and then you're like, oh, I happen to have a cousin who's in the private mail delivery service, he'll charge double and deliver half. That is a tried and true playbook, and I believe that's what Elon Musk is doing in a very ham-handed way. And because usually when they kneecap the mailman, it's not going to lead to people dying. But right now, that's where we are with Social Security. And it's unbelievable to me that Donald Trump is allowing Elon Musk to do this. And I think the strategy has to be to get Donald Trump and Elon Musk split apart and have Donald Trump realize that Elon Musk destroying Social Security is an incredibly, it's going to tank his numbers as fast as Elon Musk's are right now. Y'all know that the Republicans are in charge of all three branches, right? And the Republicans are generally being like, okay, Elon Musk is the boss, the richest man in the world. They're not standing up to him. But I think this makes sense. If it doesn't, do you know how big of a deal it was that Marco Rubio leaked that story to the New York Times about his split with Elon Musk? That's like, in DC, that's like challenging a person to a duel, right? And then that kind of space between Donald Trump, his cabinet, and Elon Musk is absolutely something that can stop Elon Musk's tax on Social Security, which is why, even though, let's say, the Republicans for the most part are kind of on board with Elon Musk and Donald Trump right now, Elon Musk is so unpopular that the chair of the Aging Committee, does anyone know who that is? Rick Scott. But, so if you want to see a good interaction, if I do say so myself, you can Google Alex Lawson, that's me, Rick Scott, Aging Committee. I just testified in front of the Aging Committee. I have lots of opinions, and in the right venue, me and Senator Scott can go toe-to-toe. But I will tell you this about Rick Scott. He does not like getting phone calls about Elon Musk and Social Security demanding that as the chair of the Aging Committee, it's his job to oversee Social Security. What is this unelected South African billionaire doing that is all going to land at his feet? To make more calls. More calls. And this is this thing, people don't believe me. I get it, but I'm telling you, this is how the system works. Every phone call you make is actually logged. It actually matters. And you can call each of his offices twice a day. When I work with my partners in DC, they're like, man, you guys put so much heat on. What's your secret? And I'm like, my people have a superpower. Many of them are retired. They're cool with getting together with their friends, forming a phone tree, and with their coffee calling 4 offices in the morning, and with their after lunch 4 offices again. The district offices, all of them, plus the DC office. And the key is, you just keep it really simple. Elon Musk is bad, Social Security is good. If you let Elon Musk destroy Social Security, that's on you. Senator Scott, as my senator and as the chair of the Aging Committee. And this is, thank you. This is also where we're at now, making phone calls. We need more volume, and it is working. But we're also going to have to escalate, because when we're talking to our folks in Florida, Rick Scott's office is not picking up the phone. It's a lot of leaving messages. Leave the messages. They're still counted.
They're not accepting them, though.
That's what happens at a point. They turn it off. Now, that is totally, that's garbage. That guy works for you.
I called every day.
Yes, exactly. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to go to his office. We're going to have to together go to his office, which we've done countless times before. We're going to bring, you know what politicians care about, right? Money. Second is media. We're going to bring the media with us, and we're going to just keep pressure building on Rick Scott specifically because he's the chair of the Aging Committee. And he is going to get so mad at Elon Musk that he's going to actually be like, that's not my fault, that's his fault. And as soon as he starts pointing fingers at Elon Musk, that's what we're trying to get to happen, right? We know that across the board, there's no Democrat that I can think of on the Hill that has anything good to say about what Elon Musk is doing. There are a lot of Republicans who are very quiet right now, who actually would love to say something, but they're scared of Elon Musk. But if we can start getting that distance built and make him toxic over his plan to destroy Social Security, which is, again, it's not a plan, unfortunately. It's the first cuts have happened. You know, a 50-year staffing low. They've cut 10,000 workers. They've taken 12 regional districts and mushed them into 4. Even if you thought that some of that was a good idea, you wouldn't do it all at once because you couldn't guarantee that the system was keep going as you were changing things. That's the problem. They just came in and they, in their mind, when they do things, if they screw something up, they just hit, I don't know, Control Alt Delete or something, right? And just push it again. But we're not computer, right? We're not computer programs. This is real people's lives that they're messing with now. So I want to implore you to not lose hope at all, because as crazy as it is to think about, it has not been very long, right? We're only a couple months in here, right? Since January. It might feel longer. It definitely does to me.
53 days, I believe.
There you go. So it is very possible to reverse course on this, which is the only thing, that's what has to happen. We can't just stop it. We need to reverse course. They need to actually fix what they broke at Social Security. It can't just be stop. It has to be reverse course. And we can make that happen. Just last week, they were going to shut down the whole phone system. We raised our voices together, reminded them that all power is with the people. All power. It's from us. They work for us. And they back down. They back down and they're like, oh, I guess we can't close the 1-800 number. It works. When we raise our voices, they have to listen. And the way that we do it is by knowing, I try not to be too mean in a setting like this, but politicians are really easy to understand. They're, to a person, ego-driven, at the highest level. Whoever you've met that you think of as an egoist, multiply them by 1,000, and then you get barely to a House member, 1 million, and you're at a senator, right? So putting these personalities against each other is a key part of the strategy here, because all of those senators do not like being usurped by a South African billionaire who just rides in on his weird car. And, lucky if it doesn't catch fire. And I want to say one thing also, because I try to, I'm being respectful that this is a nonpartisan event, but this isn't partisan. What Elon Musk has done is illegal as well. Illegal. Because all the cuts that I've talked about are second. It's what he did second. Remember what he did first? His guys plugged a computer into all of the systems and downloaded all of our data. Every single one of us. Everything there is to know about you, me, our family. This is divorce records, wage records, our health records, if the disability, mental health issues, all the secrets that if one of us accessed another one of our files illegally, right, which specifically means without permission, they'd go to jail. It's a felony. It's a felony. And what business is Elon Musk in? Data. Data. He doesn't make cars. He's lucky, because if he actually just made cars, his car is less safe than the Pinto. You can Google that. You can Google it. The Cybertruck is 10 times less safe than the Pinto. But he's not in the car business. That's a side thing for him. He says it. He's in the data business, and he just stole all of our data from Treasury to HHS to Social Security. That's illegal, and every one of his little minions who took part in that, massive criminal act that took place, and we're not going to stop. And it's not just stop Elon Musk from doing this. There needs to be repercussions for the illegal acts that have taken place. Anyways, that's sort of a side tangent, but also important. This is the question. Why is the government not doing anything about him? And I think a lot of the answer is fear. Him. What politicians, so there's an old adage that's super true, which is politicians care about one election, their own. They care about one election. And it has been made abundantly clear that you get in line, or all of Elon Musk's money and currently all of Donald Trump's super PAC money is going to come after you. Right now, they're more scared of Elon Musk than they are of their constituents, and we need to change that calculus in a big way. We need them to remember that this South African billionaire is not their boss. We're their boss. And I can't stress enough how important it is that Rick Scott is the chair. I know this is so boring, but DC is the most boring place ever. Being the chair of the Aging Committee, which is a part of the Finance Committee, is incredibly important, because it's his toes that Elon Musk is specifically stepping on. And he has to hear from Floridians just over and over and over and over again. And then there have to be news articles in the Orlando Sentinel and whatever, all the local press we can, that are saying people are absolutely outraged about Social Security, and change that fear calculus so that politicians are more scared of their constituents than they are of this unelected South African billionaire bureaucrat. It's as simple as that. And so the tactic is phone calls in right now, but also my organization, Social Security Works, and all my contact info's on there. And I want to work with all of you. I think we're on our 45th. That's why drag me around the state. Like I've been going everywhere. I'll be continuing to go all over, because all you need, go to your local Social Security office, let us know. We'll work with the unions that represent the workers in those offices. If there's been fired workers, we'll get them out there. We've got other people who will want to come out and participate. Basically, every time we're putting one of these together, we're getting bigger and bigger and bigger crowds. And then you invite your member of Congress, and if they don't show up, that's the story. If they do show up, that's the story. But the pressure has to be building and building and building. And April 5th, there's a giant, massive day of mobilization. Hands off is the branding, and we are pushing hands off Social Security on that day, where we can have, across the country, millions of people, because I'll end this to go to the Q&A and give you as much time as you want, or as they'll allow. I really want everyone to hear this, because it's entirely true. If we raise our voices together, They cannot ignore us, and we will win. We will win. When we stand shoulder to shoulder with our community, with our neighbors, and on Social Security, it's everyone who comes out. When politicians see that, the fear of this South African billionaire is going to recede to that most basic understanding that the election that they care about is their own. And when the people are united, raising their voices, saying hands off Social Security, there's absolutely no way that they can ignore us, and we will win. So thank you so much for letting me speak with you today. And we've got microphones here. I don't know if we have, and somebody walking them around as well. So I think probably raise your hands, and I'll do a stack. 1, 2, yes. 2, do you want to run the stack? They're going to run the stack.
He's going to turn on. He's going to. Yep. He just got to go ahead. Go. It is now.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So I just wanted to make a quick announcement because there's a lot of people that have questions. And unfortunately, we had some folks that were promoting their mother's strawberry jam business, their websites, other organizations, things like that. I'm not going to get into all the stuff. But so this is only questions, no statements. Okay, it's only questions directed at Alex. Okay, so nothing about other organizations or anything like that. It's only question from you and answer from this gentleman. Okay, that's all.
Yeah, I just want to know if you're aware that on the website for Rick Scott, that you can put in, it says, if Senator Scott is proud to serve Florida families and values your input. So you can fill out this with your name, and you can say what is your topic. You can say Social Security, and then you can put your message in.
Absolutely.
And then you can submit it that way.
Which is a great way. I want to just expand on that a little bit. There is a ranking of communications into congressional offices. So keep your hands up, and they're going to walk the mic around.
Okay, here we go.
And he's taking the stack. Office
Go ahead,
visits
ma'am.
are
Go ahead and
number
stand
1. Phone calls are number 2. Phone calls are number 2.
Okay.
Letters are number 3. But here's a trick. This is what I want you to take away. And this, again, is DC's a weird place. Faxes are the same as letters. I don't know why, but they are. They count the same as letters. You can send faxes from your computer just as easily as you can send emails. It's in everyone's computer. You can actually just fax to a number. Rick Scott's website has a fax number on it. Fax away. Send them in. It counts a little bit more. Emails and web forms are important, but they are lower than phone calls, office visits, faxes, and letters. The problem with letters is that because of the anthrax, it takes an enormous amount of time. It goes through a special sorting process, so it's way, way, way slower. So I would actually use faxes. And yes, use the web form. Social media is good if it's a lot, but the best thing is phone calls and in person.
Okay, I have friends in Colorado. Do you think, and they have inundated the offices with postcards. Everybody gets 12 postcards, and big, huge bags of postcards are going into these politicians' offices. Do you think that's a good idea for us to do that? Because they don't have to open the letters, it's just postcards.
Yeah.
Just throw a postcard in, and then pretty soon he's got hundreds and thousands of postcards in his office.
Postcards are very good. It is designed to get around that bottleneck.
Right.
So a postcard
yes?
is
Okay.
a letter. And I will say, the one thing is, if it looks like I did it, I have a 4 million person email list, right? So I write an email and I'm like, hey, do something, and then like hundreds of thousands of things come in. And offices are like, we're gonna discount that a little bit. A fax from a Floridian is like, man, they count that because it's sort of interesting to them. So campaigns, super important, organized is key, but your voice as constituents right now is really what gives you your superpower here. On this specific tactic, Rick Scott, chair of the Aging Committee.
I just want to say thank you for telling me that about the faxes. And on our website, which is on all the placards, I'll make sure it's actually on the right there at the bottom is our website, and also there's a banner underneath the table with the cookies and the water, and it has our website on there too. And I'll have our folks that do the website have instructions for how to send a fax, because I don't even know how to do that. I didn't know I could do that. So I will have instructions for everybody. If they want to try that, we'll put it on the website in the next 2-3 days, okay? And next question.
Okay, my question is more of a concern, and thanks very much for coming out. What do you do with the fact that Elon Musk has a lot of money and Rick Scott likes money?
When I do this with my hands, I'm usually talking about the fear of money versus the fear of people. And right now, the fear or love. It's right. We have to get the scales to change so that Elon Musk, his money, loses its appeal because Rick Scott, who is a bit insulated because of the time of elections, but Rick Scott still is going to, at some point, care more about hearing from his constituents and bad press than Elon Musk's money. But the question previously was just, why isn't Congress doing anything? And the answer is Elon Musk's money. That's what they're scared of. There have been examples made of people who have stepped out of line. And that's absolutely true.
Thank you. Here we go.
Hi, my question is, in high school I learned about the system of checks and balances, and I always felt safe in the United States that we would never have a coup or anything because we had a constitution and we had those checks and balances. If I go do something wrong, we don't weigh people's opinions on whether I go to jail or not. I broke a law, I'm punished. How are they getting away with breaking all these laws and not being punished for it?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we can go,
You're next.
Exactly.
I know, but I want to
There has been a long history in this country of multiple levels of justice, primarily based on wealth. But also, if you're looking recently, the courts have started ruling and are saying, look, you can't just do you can't just fire all these people and pretend, that's okay. And then the DOJ is going to keep arguing. They'll keep pushing it up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court does have justices who, are put there by Donald Trump. They lied to the Senate to get on, right? So we know that, the picture of justice is blind. It's not totally true. In many cases, it's decidedly not true. But what matters at the end of the day is always power. It's people power and
yes, that's you guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
and politicians aren't going to be they're never going to be the brave ones. They find their bravery from the people. So I think if you look at what happened in South Korea, you had a guy, an autocrat. He wanted to coup a dictatorship into place of a democracy. Right? I mean, he went full bore.
Yep.
And what happened is the people stood up and said no. There's amazing videos of just, it was not a superhero in a cape. It was just people being like, no, you're not going to take my Social Security. No, you're not going to take my Medicare. You're not going to close my Social Security office. No, you're not going to take my democracy. And I know it's hard to picture now, but it's only been 53 days. So like a lot of it is based on, if you read Project 2025, they actually talk about it. They say, we're gonna do illegal things because the courts will be on our side, or by the time the courts rule, it'll be too late, right? So, I mean, they wrote it down, which is why Donald Trump was like, I don't even know what that thing is, right? Like, and then he put the author as in charge of OMB. But like, again, it's sort of, just to tie that into here, their lies are really important, right? Like, so Donald Trump is saying, I'm not gonna cut Social Security, I'm not gonna touch Medicare, I'm not gonna touch Medicaid. Obviously, that's just like him saying, I don't know what Project 2025 is. But specifically to your checks and balances, it requires Congress to, right? They have to act as a check for it to, because if they just, what they're doing is falling in line. And since they're falling in line, there's no check, there's no balance, they're just getting behind the executive.
Okay, next question.
Okay, is it true that there's strength in numbers? And if that is true, what happened to AARP? I see you've been 15 years, but isn't that like reinventing the wheel? I mean, I'm turning 66 in May, and 16 years ago I joined AARP because I was told that they are my voice in Washington, D.C. to protect the Medicare and the Social Security. So, you know, what gives?
It's a great question. This is where I get in lots of trouble, but I don't mind that much because just so everyone knows, Social Security works, our funding comes entirely from the people, right? So I don't have to worry about funders. And the reason I'm laying that all out, AARP is amazing when they're on your side. When we fought against pharmaceutical corporations to get Medicare drug price negotiation, which is 10 years of my life, they were key, critical, amazing work. But AARP is actually an insurance company, right? So actually what AARP is they sell that Medigap policy, which is actually a really good Medigap policy. It's traditional Medicare with that Medigap is like the best healthcare you can get. But because they're an insurance company, which it's a United plan, they're not advocates in the way that like I'm an advocate, right? They're really useful because they've got tens of millions of dollars. But they have this cautiousness about them, especially on Social Security. So I think of them as an entity that needs to be pushed, because once they're activated, they're like unstoppable. But right now, they actually are doing great work on Medicaid, but they've taken a wait and see approach on Social Security, which I think does not meet the moment at all. And so I would answer using your voice to push AARP to get more involved on the Social Security fight, critical. And then the last thing, and I know Ellen wants me to limit my words, which is my downfall. The local AARP, so Florida AARP is part of it, but also is separate. So like working within the Florida AARP, which I oftentimes find are more willing to go hard, fast, and pushing national. So basically, AARP will get there on Social Security. It's just Elon Musk is acting so fast that like a lot of things aren't set up to respond fast enough to what he's doing. If that.
Okay, so next question. Good answer. I didn't even know all this stuff. I'm glad you asked that question. Okay.
Thank you for coming. I wondered if you were aware of, and thank you so much for talking about the phone calls I make phone calls every day.
Yeah.
I wondered if you were aware of 5 calls.
I love it.
5 calls, if you go onto the website and it's 5, the digit 5 calls, and you put in your zip code, it will bring up the phone numbers that you need. You can also call, I know a friend of mine said that they can't get through to the local office. You can call the Washington, D.C. office.
That was actually part of our program. That's why we always say questions, because that's part of our program at the end. So I will tell everybody a little bit more detail. So just questions, okay? All right.
But
And
that's a great website. And then
we talked about it in Orlando this morning, so it's part of the program. Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Hello. Listen, I don't know if you realize that you're in the Florida 6th District, and I'm not political. A civic reminder, there's an election on April Fool's Day, and this is a safe district for Republicans. Let's change it.
Okay, we can't, we are actually a nonpartisan organization, so we can't endorse any candidates or anything like that, so just a heads up on that.
But election dates are important.
Okay, yeah, let me walk back here and bring it to him because he's on oxygen and I don't want to. Okay, here we go. And if you could.
Yes, can you tell me how this will play effect on railroad retirement? I understand it's basically the same thing as Social Security, but a lot of people think it's entirely different and it won't play effect on it.
That's a longer answer that I'd love to give you my card, and we can talk about it specifically. It is a separate program, but the way, like TPS, and there's a bunch of federal programs that are at risk. But Elon Musk's current work has not touched it, except in, this is why we should talk. There are parts that all of the federal programs rely on SSA to do the back end of. And so these attacks permeate through the entire federal pension system in really important ways. But I'd love to talk with you and send you some resources. And I don't know if you're connected in with people focused specifically on that.
Okay, next question.
Sally. Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for being here. My question to you is, from my perspective, I've seen a lot of people all around this country up in arms, right? So my question to you is, we want an outlet to express ourselves. Everybody, whatever issue you have. Are you, your PAC, going to be marching to Tallahassee or marching? Are you going to be organizing something like that? You are.
That's us.
So are you going to be doing that so that we can all go together?
Well, we don't have the money to fly everyone to Tallahassee or have buses, but we're going to have actions locally so you don't have to go to Tallahassee, because Tallahassee is a state legislature, whereas your congressman, and I think we have a senator, is it Ashley Moody that's filling in for Marco Rubio? So we have Rick Scott, Ashley Moody, and we have 30, I think it is, members of Congress in the Florida delegation. And so we're going to make sure that your voices are heard on the ground in your local district. And for anyone who isn't paying attention, like people like me, Congress is on recess right now. So that means that your Congress people are not stuck in DC. And I'm sure they would love to hear about Social Security from y'all. Okay, so, and we'll be, I don't know if you signed up on Mobilize or not, if you've heard of Mobilize, but it's a website with our events, and you can just look under our organization and you'll see the events that we're planning for this coming week, because I think they have 12 or 14 days off, and you will see them there, okay?
Mobilize.com?
Mobilize.us. Mobilize.us, okay? And we'll have all this information will be on our website, and the web address, and there's an email also on the placards, and we'll have it on the banner, and we have a QR code that also goes to our website. Okay, here we go.
And I'll just add that Social Security Works, my organization, we're partnered and we'll continue to partner. And we have, this is very tame Alex Lawson. This is extraordinarily tame me. When we're doing rallies, which I have one coming up in 3 days, it is the outrage level. I've never seen anything like it ever. And so go to your Social Security office. You can talk with Ellen. You can talk with us. We'll get people there. We'll make those type of events. You know, marches are important, but actually going to the offices and saying, hands off my Social Security office, you're not going to close my Social Security office, is a key tactic right now. These town halls are so important to build community, and so that you know who to contact, and use these tools like Mobilize to find the rallies and actions that are more focused on that pressure.
And the Mobilize links will be on our website. We also work with the National Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare. They're more focused on contact with elected members of Congress or your representatives. So they don't do things like this. They don't do things on the ground. Whereas Social Security works, and Alex, he comes out into the community, talks to people. It's a different type of organizations, because what they do is they screen candidates for office or re-election and get their positions and look at their votes. We don't do that, but they do. And then National Committee pressures members of Congress. So everybody has a little different piece. And, you know, there are laws that, that's why I always have that disclaimer, we're nonpartisan, because we are. So just wanted to let you know everybody's cooperating with each other. I was speaking with the president of the Florida Alliance for Retired Americans. So we're all working together to make these things happen. And everyone is contributing, and I'm very, very grateful for Alex coming down. I'm grateful for all the help from the National Committee, from the Alliance for Retired Americans. So we all are working together, and believe me, we want to make your voices heard in the most powerful, impactful way, okay? And going to Tallahassee, those people don't have any voice in Social Security, just so you know. Okay, so we're going to do it on the ground in each district. All right, you've got a question.
My question has to do with solvency. We've been told by many people, oh, Social Security is going to go broke next year, 10 years from now, whatever. I'm beginning to wonder if that's not sort of a tactic to get me to question whether I should rely on Social Security. What are your thoughts on that?
That's exactly what it is. So I wanted the main takeaway on is this Elon Musk, what he's done, make him toxic, Rick Scott, aging committee chair. But a bigger thing that's going on is, I bet you people in this room know, but does everyone know that you only pay in on the first $176,000 of income, right? So the vast majority of Americans pay in on all of their income, or they pay in all year long. But Elon Musk, if he paid in on all of his income, he'd be done in the first second of the first day every single year, right? All we have to do, and listen to this, it's not more, is just get the billionaires and also pay the same rate that all the rest of them.
The chair of the Fulton County Democrats, the one who Tucker, she thought that I lived in Georgia. She tried to buy Girl Scout cookies from her daughter. I know.
If we have billionaires and the ultra wealthy pay the same rate, we can increase benefits by $200 a month for everybody, and it's solvent into the next century. And we were making steady progress on this. My tours before were oftentimes just to tell people, don't believe it. They're trying to tell you that it's not going to be there for you, because here's the gimmick. What you do is you convince people they're going to get nothing, and then they'll accept less than they're owed, right? So if I owe you $1, but then I convince you that I can't give you any of it, And then I come back and I'm like, hey, if you sign this piece of paper, I'll find 70 cents for you. It seems like I gave you 70 cents. I didn't. I stole 30 cents from you. That's what they're doing. And this is part of it in a similar way, right? Like the President Trump got on television and was like, 300-year-olds are getting benefits. And you're like, that's insane. The country's not that old, right? So the idea is the big lie to weaken people. People, especially young people, they really are like very common that they just don't think they're going to get anything, right? So then if you don't think you're going to get anything, you're not going to fight against them taking away what you don't think you're going to get. So that's exactly what's going on now. It's just that this new tactic of breaking the SSA itself is new. But you see how it will result in the same thing, right? Like you break the system and then you're like, this system's terrible. It's never going to work for you. And then it lets them get their hands on the trillions of dollars. $1 trillion a year flows through the system and Wall Street gets bupkis from it. That's the whole problem. They're like, the whole system is administered for less than 1%. 1 penny of every dollar that we pay in premiums administers the whole thing. We pay for the offices, we pay for the staff at those offices, and it's less than a penny. Wall Street sees that as an absolute missed opportunity, right? They're like, how am I going to buy another yacht with that? And so that's what it's all about. It's all driven by exactly that. All we need to do is have billionaires and the ultra wealthy pay the same as us, right? That's it. That's as simple as it gets.
Okay, next question. Oh, can I make a comment here? Generous? No? Okay. Robert Reich, you know Robert, right? I read everything I can about Social Security, of course, and he said even if we just raise the cap, not to the billions of dollars of income these people have, just $250,000, it would fund Social Security for the next 75 years. Okay, these are people are making $200 million, $300 million, $1 billion, $2 billion, and they aren't paying anything into Social Security on everything above $170,000. Do you see why we have to fight for this to correct this? Okay, enough of my opinion. Here we go.
Thank you. As someone who many years ago on the Hill opened mail during anthrax for a member of Congress, please, please, please follow these instructions. The ranking is so very important. As you were talking about the fear associated with Elon, there's a squad back here who kept saying, of what? Of what? Can you explain, and not in a partisan way, can you explain what it means when someone is threatened with being primaried?
Yeah. So what Elon Musk and with Donald Trump and MAGA, what they've done is they've made examples of people, right? So if you fall out of line, they will come in and they'll support somebody in the primary election, so the intra-party election, right? So the Republican primary, they'll find somebody. It's really at this point, you know, I'll be polite. It's not about ideology, though. It's actually just about loyalty to Donald Trump, right? So, like, I have my words that I use to describe their ideology, but that's what it's about. They just find somebody and they say, we'll give you unlimited money, functionally unlimited money. In politics, right? It's because you said you worked on the Hill, so you obviously, I like you being like, that's true. There's a limit to how much money you can spend on an election, not like a limit by law, by physical. There's only so much television inventory. There's only so many newspaper ads. There's only so many venues that you can do stuff at. So the money that Elon Musk is playing with is functionally the same as having unlimited money for a campaign. And so they go and they find someone and they say, we'll give you unlimited money, you just have to beat this person. And to be honest, they don't even have to beat that person, because the message is sent loud and clear to everyone else that maybe, somebody could survive that primary challenge because they're beloved by their constituents or whatever, but not all of them. So that's what they're keeping people in line by threatening them with losing their job, which is why, if I had again, balancing the scales is the fear is still losing their job, right? So all we have to do is change the calculus so that they're more afraid of losing their job because of their constituents than because of the money. Because it is true, at the end of the day, money doesn't vote, people vote. So all the television ads in the world aren't going to add up to anything if the people are just united behind or against something. So it's a really great question, and that is what they're afraid of. They're afraid of the fact that a person who, is the richest man currently, I don't know currently because his wealth has just cratered over the last bit, but at a point...
Alex, that's called the Tesla Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Okay? The Tesla Chainsaw Massacre.
I'll stop talking there. That's a great one to end on.
Okay, and we have just 2 more questions, and then it's cookie time, which is my favorite time, Alex.
Cookies and not as important, but I also have my business cards. I really want to stay in contact with everybody here, and I know folks are leaving, so this is what keeps me going in Washington, D.C. You all are amazing. I love you.
Absolutely.
Coming out on the Saturday. This is why we're going to win, because just look around. Look to your left and your right. That's who's going to be with you when we win. When we beat these billionaires, it's going to be us. No one's going to do it for us. It'll be us who does it. So thank you so much.
Okay, so we have 2 questions left, and here we go.
Hi, thanks for coming. My question is, I will be turning 62 in September. I should be able to collect Social Security. In the next couple of months, I'm supposed to go and fill out my application. Are they going to deny me? Are they going to take the application? What do people in my age group who are about to collect Social Security to expect?
That's a really difficult question to answer right now. Is this on? Yes. Your personal benefit decision should really be made, in consultation with the most knowledgeable people who are Social Security Administration at a field office. Unfortunately, it's really hard to get that conversation right now. For example, every year that you claim your benefits before full benefit age, which should be 66 for you, 7? It'll be end months, yeah. So is a 7% reduction for each year. All of that needs to be taken into consideration when you're making the decision. I will say that disability benefits is where we're seeing the most gnarly hang-ups right now, right? So because they require, there's a lot more steps in there than just proving that you are fully insured and hit the age. It's really hard because I want to be able to say what I've always said, which is there's no way. It's your money. You go in, you claim it, and it's yours. And right? And then you can't change the decision. So I always say, make sure that you get all the information and base it on all of the facts. I still think that that's the way it will be. With retirement benefits right now, that we have not heard of people getting hung up trying to claim their benefits yet, but we have heard of a lot of things that we've never seen or heard of before. So I wish I had a different answer for you, but you know, the system itself is really simple when it comes to retirement, to old age side. As long as you're fully insured, it's yours by right. As soon as you finish the paperwork, checks are coming. The thing I said about constituent services is something that you could take into consideration, sort of really going to your federal office holders and getting a constituent services card so you have somebody's name and let them know you're worried about, you know, getting your benefits.
But we signed a legal contract for this event, and we have gone over. So we're just going to ask you to do a couple of things. And Alex, will you be around for a few minutes?
I will.
He's going to be around for a few minutes. So if everyone will sit down just for a moment, because we're going to take some photographs. So if you would please hold your placards up that are the same as in front of the podium. And this is Mr. James, our dear friend, and if you have placards you can share with other people in the front row maybe. There are people in the front row that don't have a placard. There you go. Okay, so, and we just want to say a few words, and that is save Social Security. Can I hear you say save Social Security? Save Social Security. 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 Thank you all for coming. Thank you so much. And thank you, Alex. You've been wonderful. And please come out. And we're going to be here for a few minutes, just shutting down. But he'll be here to talk and answer questions for a few more minutes. Thank you all for coming.